white always starts first. Now this, I have no idea why that is the international rule, but it could be a depiction of the configuration of our society, white people everywhere. So anyway, so that's the rule. So white somewhat has majority if he starts first. Now one last thing, the basic, back to basics, which we teach in mathematics. I'm a mathematics teacher, I teach that all the time, is you got to remember you have to always control the center. The dead center of the square is these 4 squares. I mean, of this board is these 4 squares. If you follow these basics, always control the center, because the opposing side is going to try to do the same, but you have to maintain that. Now these are called the opening moves. Now there are different kinds of openings, they have different names and everything. However, just going to talk about how to open the game. You want to start moving as many major pieces as early as possible, because you can move the pawns anytime, etc. And the other side may choose to do the same. And the one thing you always want to make sure, for example, if the black did this, it's not a good move, because now the bishop is high up in the chain, he's going to be taken out with a pawn. Bad move. However, you should never get attacked by a pawn. You should attack a stronger piece. And then the white's option might be, okay, I'll attack you because my pawn is supporting this square. White might decide to still take your knight, but you still have black's bishop at the same time. So it's one move at a time. You have to think sometimes 2, 3, 4 moves ahead of time. Grandmasters can think many moves ahead of time. So anyway, it's very interesting. The last special move that we're going to talk about is castle, and that's the rook and the king combination. Now there's a queenside castle and kingside castle. The rules: there should be no other pieces between the king and the rook, and the king should not have been checked or moved before. Now if none of this happened, but if the king wasn't checked or moved before, and there are no pieces between the king and the rook, the king can move 2 spaces and the rook goes on the other side of the king. He could do this on either side, but he cannot do it while he's in check or been checked before or the king moved. For instance, if black checked the king and he had to move, now he cannot castle. He can't pull that special move. However, he could do it on either side. For example, on this side, this is called queenside castling because the queen was on the left side. For the white, he could go 2 spaces here and the rook comes here. It's a very good way to open up the rook's position, secure the king on either side. Anyway, these are the rules of chess, some of the basics. I've talked about the special rule of all passe. Again, it's basically this move where the other side has crossed, the pawn has crossed the board more than the center. You decide to use the option to move in 2 squares and black captures it. And we talked about castling, where queenside, the king moves 2, rook goes to the right. Kingside castling, which is on this side. I hate this. Pieces dropping all over the place. Anyway, it moves this side and 2 here. Alright, so these are the basics. I have another video which shows a 5-minute quick chess game that me and my buddy Terrence played. He beat me. Anyhow, well, briefly I wanted to talk about how this could help in teaching mathematics to children, and the point is that it's a strategy game. It has rules. Mathematics has a lot of rules, and this is the best way to get a student's mind conditioned to rules and make it simple. It's a game, so they will be interested. If they're not, you could try find ways of getting them interested, give them some history, show them some footage, and get them interested. And it would definitely help with mathematics, because the structure, the setup of the game is very similar to the construct of mathematics.